Alright, so for this first scramble, you went with this pretty obvious orange layer, which I would also do, because you see this orange layer with 3 corners solved, and there's like literally nothing else on any of the other starting layers. So yeah. You executed this first layer like this. You brought the piece down, and then kind of inserted it. You kind of like regripped and inserted like that. However, there's actually a regripless way to do this. I kind of like start with my thumb on top of here and 3 fingers here, and kind of have my hand gripping the left side of the cube. The pinky can just pretty much go wherever, it doesn't really matter. Right pinky. And then you can bring the layer down, and then kind of move up like that, and then push back like that, and use your thumb to push back. So that's gonna look like this. So yeah, much faster. And yeah, it's pretty nice. Then we got this case. So yeah, this case is quite easy to recognize. You have the pure pi on top, and then you have the U-per on bottom. And you're gonna do double sludge here and then do the U-perm. And you'll pretty much always know where the U-perm will be, because these centers on the bottom here, they like stay in the same place if you do a sludge here. So you can just immediately rotate, which is, yeah, something you should know. This is a more personal preference, but pretty much you regripped to do the pure pi like this, where you like have your thumb on top here, do this sludge, and then use other sludge. So that's pretty good, because the algs regrip this, but you start with a regrip. But it's fine, like it can work with some people, but I kind of like doing it like this, and I'm sure some other people would too. You start like in your normal sludge position, but instead of like regripping another sludge, you'd kind of do like an R2 and then just insert the corner. So that's regripless too, and I think it flows a bit better just because you don't have to do that starting a regrip. A little bit faster maybe. Yeah, but after that was fine. He rotated to the U-perm, so pretty good. Alright, so on the second scramble, we have a few options for our first layer, since we have red, green, and orange that both have 1 corner solved. So pretty much as a rule of thumb, you kind of just want to look at the layers in inspection that have the most corners solved. So in this case, these 3 layers. Yeah. So you went with red, and you have this pretty straightforward solution where you just solve these 2 corners and just twist this last one, which is not a bad like layer solution by any means, because it's intuitive and it's pretty finger trick friendly, like that. But there is actually 3 different 5-move layers I found on the scramble. So yeah, it's just like if you want to be more move efficient, there's just a few ways to do this. I'll just go over the one red pretty much, just so I don't waste that much time. And it's pretty advanced, but you might be able to figure it out. So for your layer solution, you solve these 2 corners first and then twist this one. But what if we twist this one first, and then as we twist this one, we can cancel into these 2 corners? So pretty much what I'm getting at here, to twist this corner, there's like, and you can do it like this, but you can also do it like that. And we're gonna do the same thing here. So we're gonna want to twist this corner while also solving this one. So you can bring it down and twist it like that, or you can just do it just like this. Bring it this up and then just cancel and twisting it like that. But you might notice while we're doing that, this corner is actually in the perfect position to be solved as well. So before we do this last move, we can just solve this corner and then solve the last corner. So fast, it's going to look like this. And yeah, so there's also a 5-move layer on both green and orange. You can challenge yourself to find them, but I'm not going to go over them because I want to focus on the next part, which is how you handled this L2L case, or what am I saying? Sarah's advanced, Sarah's intermediate, whatever. So pretty sure you already know this because you did it, but if you have a peanut and you have two opposite centers like this, like two adjacent opposite centers, then if you hold the center that's adjacent in front and then do the Sarah's intermediate, in this case hedge, you're always going to get a skip. So if you do it from the other way, you'll get a U-perm, which U-perm obviously isn't bad, but the skip's just much better. So yeah. One thing. So you took a second to recognize it, like you rotate over here to check if this one is also opposite. But you technically don't need to do that, because if there's one opposite center, like opposite of this U center, and you have an adjacent center in front, then you pretty much already know that the one is in the back, because you don't have like another intermediate case that's like similar to that. So yeah. And last thing, like just your execution. You did hedge, which is good, you did the right case, but you might actually notice that this last move of hedge, it could cancel into the next hedge. So to do that, I finger trick it like this. I got two fingers on this center, and then a pointer finger on the U center, and then my thumb in the front center where we're actually doing the algorithm, and then just grip on the left hand, and we start the hedge like this, like moving this corner up, taking the corner out, moving this back down, and then we can kind of do like an R prime, but also like rotate at the same time, and then just insert this corner. So fast that would look like that. Yeah. All right, cool. All right, so here's the scramble for the third solve, and as you can see, it is pretty bad. Since there's like no starting layers with like any corner solves. So I think just for cases like these, just like pretty much just like try to glance like all the layers, and unless you see like a 4-move layer like instantly, you can just go with that. But you kind of just like glance at all the layers and see what like works best. Keep it on your mind like which layer looks the best, and then at the end of the inspection just like do that. But I think as far as the scramble goes, you did find a pretty good layer solution. Move optimal layer solution, might add. It was 5 moves. I didn't really find anything that was 4 moves, so that's good. And yeah, so you kind of just went with this white layer immediately. Solve this corner, and then we solve these corners like that, and then solve this last corner. Although you kind of like rotated and then used your right hand, which is a bit unnecessary, because if you're here, you can actually just use like your left pointer or middle finger to just flick that, and then that'll cost you, or that'll save you, sorry, like a rotation and a regrip. So that actually helps a lot. And yeah, like pretty much having good finger tricks on layers is like just as important, if not more important, than having a good solution for layers. So yeah. And then yeah, this case, which you recognize quite fast, which is good. So what you did for this, which was I would do as well. Sledge here, and then you hedge here and sledge here. So yeah. One thing again with finger tricks, you kind of sledge here and then rotate it and like regrip to do the hedge. But with this, you can kind of do the sledge here and then hedge here, and like kind of like one continuous motion kind of. So you do the sledge like normally. You reposition some of these fingers, but you kind of keep your thumb in the same area and your left hand in the same area. And then you can kind of just like go to like do a hedge. So that would just look like kind of like that. Slightly regrip, but like, you know, nothing too crazy. Yeah. But yeah, then you just rotate to the side. So pretty good. Alright, so here is the fourth scramble. We got one corner solved on blue, red, white, and orange. First, your layer solution was pretty bad, like, in all honesty. So you kind of held it like this, and then you solved this corner, and then you moved this corner over, and then you rotated and regripped, inserted, rotated again, and then rotate again, regripped, and insert this corner like this. So yeah, that was, first of all, it's kind of a move inefficient. It was like 7 moves. And then also just a lot of regrips and rotations. You kind of want to limit those. 100%. Yeah, this is the scramble. I'll show you 2 different layer solutions. One, a 6 mover on blue, and then a 5 mover on red. So blue, the same layer you did. If you just solve the pieces but in a different order, it's actually a pretty nice 6 move layer. Finger trick friendly. So instead of solving this piece first, we're going to solve this piece first. So L, and then just move, and then just solve this piece, and then we can just solve this last piece 4 more moves. So yeah, that's like a simple solution, but if you want to get slightly more advanced with a like more move efficient out, there's one on red. What I'm going to do first, you have one corner solved, just going to twist this corner and then solve it, 1 move. And then these last 2 corners, if you know, like, hold up, if you know, like this insert, you know, you might know how to do that, but you can like twist it like that. This is just canceling into that twist. So you might see that you can solve this corner and then twist it like that. But that just like completely cancels. So you can just put the corner on top of here and then just solve these last 2 like that. So yeah. Anyways, back to your solve. This is pretty good. This part is pretty good actually. You recognize it quite fast, and then feel like small lockups, but you know, nothing too crazy. Did the case. So yeah, it's just like it solves like that where you have inefficient layers. It does bring down your time, even if you have a good like second half to your solve. But yeah. Alright, so we're the last scramble here, and I'll be honest, like the scramble is quite bad. You got 2 centers that have 1 corner solved, but both these centers are like 7 move layers. So usually when you have, with like all the centers that have 1 corner or more solved, if they're just like all really bad, you usually just take a glance at the centers that don't have any corner solved and hope you'll find a better layer. Like for example, I found a form of layer on whites like that, but it's totally understandable if you like don't find something like that, because usually you don't really feel like checking for these centers. But anyways, you did one of the 7 move layers. You did it like kind of the way I would do it, but just in a more stranger way. You held it like, so you held it like this, and then solved this corner by just moving it R prime. So it's like solved, like two corners solved here. And then you kind of like did a Y prime, and then insert this corner like that. And then, but then you did like the Z2, insert the corner like that. So, which, I mean, the solution's fine, but once again, it's a lot of rotations and regrips. So how I would do this is I would start like here, and then kind of do like a B move, and then into this corner like that, and then rotate into the corner like that, which still a lot of rotations, but I think it's a bit better. Regardless, let's just go back to this. Yeah, so this last layer was, or like last 2 layers, I guess, it was fine. So what I would do, just, you know, solve this thing here, and just keep her. Which, yeah, I mean, obviously, like small small lockups here and there, so you might want to like lube your cube, I would say, and just like drill like Alex. But yeah, definitely not a bad solution at all. So yeah, that's pretty much it. See ya.